Women Liberation, or PSL. The women united
Will never be defeated!
The women united
Will never be defeated!
All right, we're out here today for a march against violence against women, but we're also out here because we know that violence against women is not just rape. Violence against women is not just domestic abuse. Violence against women is woven into the very fabric of our lives through our economic system. What isn't violent about a woman saying goodbye to her children, not knowing when she'll hug them again because she's being deported or she's forced to migrate to find work? What isn't violent about an elderly woman with bones aching from a lifetime of work being evicted from her home because Social Security doesn't cover the rent? What isn't violent about a college student dropping out because it's so difficult to go to school and raise a baby? According to the 2010 census, women earn 77 cents for every dollar a man earns. That number goes down to 69 cents for black women and to 60 cents for Latinas. Who benefits from having undocumented workers who cannot demand decent work and decent wages for fear of being deported and separated from their families? Who benefits from giant swaths of black and Latino males being held in prison instead of being in their communities able to demand decent work opportunities? Who benefits from sending drones to drop bombs over family compounds in Afghanistan? And by the same token, who benefits from having one half of the population channeled away from high-paid work, being forced into dependence because we are denied abortion rights, because we are denied paid maternity leave, because we are denied free child care? Who benefits from these things? There is a common enemy here, and that is capitalism. A tiny group of elites who benefit from dividing the working class along the lines of sexism, along the lines of racism, and along the lines of your immigration status. And that is why, as women's rights activists, we cannot stop at abortion rights. We cannot stop at equal pay for equal work. We have to keep fighting until there are full rights for all immigrants, until there are jobs instead of jails, until the U.S. military stops killing innocent people in the name of fighting terrorism. Because at the bottom line, to achieve women's liberation, we need to defeat capitalism. So all of you who came out here today, you've already started this fight. Because also, on the other hand, we cannot fight capitalism unless we are fighting women's oppression. But I encourage you, don't stop here. Don't let the ruling class divide and compartmentalize our struggles. Women's rights are immigrant rights. Women's rights are workers' rights. The groups are not separate. So let's make the connections and keep up the fight. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When LGBT rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When workers' rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. So we'd like to call Tanya Romero and Nieves Iris on the side. Please come to the side, please. Now we'd like to welcome Sadia Reza from the Women's Rights and Development for Bangladesh. You know, just give it up for our sisters from Bangladesh. I am here today representing the Women's Rights Development for Bangladesh, and we would like to stand in solidarity with you all today. I'm here to express our sheer outrage at the heinous crimes that are currently being committed against women in Bangladesh right now.
Our women are being brutally abused, beaten, raped, and dragged through the streets by the Bangladeshi police. Women human rights activists who are speaking out and voicing their opinion are being harassed, and the government is attempting their hardest to silence them. One human rights activist was targeted by 20 men and threatened if she would not stop her work for exposing the government's human rights violations. This woman repeatedly went to court and reported charges against these men, and yet no action was taken. Meherun Rooney, a female journalist, was murdered in her home for telling the media the truth about the government. So why is this violence against women, this brutal killing? What crimes are they possibly guilty of? All they are guilty of is simply speaking out against the corruption of the government, speaking up for human rights. The government not only does nothing to stop violence against women in Bangladesh, but instead themselves abuse and torture innocent women. Rape cases are excused by the government in Bangladesh by dismissing them as being politically motivated. Earlier in the year, 20 women were randomly arrested without any charges whatsoever. Their only crime was observing their religion by wearing the hijab. These women were dragged up 8 flights of stairs to a prison cell and not only denied food, water, and other basic necessities, but were also forcibly stripped of their religious coverings, dragged by their hair, and tortured in their cells. One of these women was pregnant, and even she was not shown any mercy. In another court case recently, women were denied trial until they removed their religious covering. When they refused to do so, government officials forcibly stripped it of them in the court. What kind of a government shames this woman in such a way? What kind of a government justifies itself in torturing countless innocent women for no reason whatsoever? The Bangladeshi government has attained the highest level of corruption by this unspeakably inhuman brutality against women. And we ask you to join us in taking action against this inhumanity. We ask you to stand with us in condemning the injustice, because the injustice of our sisters anywhere in the world is injustice to us all. Thank you.